This is Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis.
It's another special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. We're getting you set for game number 6 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals. It is a 3-2 series lead for the Lightning, headed back to Washington. We have watched enormous swings in this series, back and forth. One team carrying the play, one team on top. What's going to happen in game number 6? There's a lot of things I want to look at. A few things in particular I want to focus on. We'll revisit a couple of storylines from game number 5 that I think may provide some keys as to what might be coming up in game number 6. And also the latest on the lineups, etc. Not expecting to see a lot different from what we saw in game number 5. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. Glad that you're back with us and looking forward to an exciting game in the Stanley Cup playoffs. A little bit after 8 o'clock this evening, puck will drop in game number 6. It's the first opportunity for the Lightning to eliminate the Capitals, move on to play for the Stanley Cup once again. The opponent from the West is already known. It will be the Vegas Golden Knights from the Western Conference competing from the Stanley Cup. And I absolutely want to dive a little deeper into that one later on in this hour. This remarkable story of the Vegas Golden Knights continues. There's a lot of people that are flinging a lot of crap about it today, as a matter of fact, and we'll dive into that. But first things first, this series between the Lightning and the Capitals, and in fact, series involving the other teams as well that have taken place. And as we've moved through our way through the Stanley Cup playoffs in the East and in the West, everybody's looking for an advantage that one team might have over another, whether it's in specialty teams or whether it's offense or defense or goaltending. Everybody's searching for one particular advantage that a team holds over another. Everybody also kinds of focuses on something else, and that is patterns, keys to success versus their opponent. Again, whether it's offense, whether it's defense, this sort of pattern has developed, some sort of tidbit, some little nugget that might be the key to success in a series. In this series, we've seen some things that have held true to form that we saw throughout the regular season or through the early part of the playoffs, but in other areas, it's a total contradiction of what you would expect these playoffs. History suggests that home teams have an advantage. That's what we've all seen and been led to believe for decades. Hasn't really held true in these playoffs or in this Eastern Conference Final Series between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals until Game 5. Winning the first 2 games of a series, that team, especially when winning those games on the road, has an overwhelming record of success and going on to win that series. That stat doesn't hold true for the Caps. Now, it's easy to get caught up in statistics and trends and numbers and percentages. I find it all a bit mind-numbing sometimes. They can be valuable tools, but they are not absolutes. There is always a team, or maybe a player, or maybe it's a line combination of players that turn the odds, the percentages, upside down. It also indicates that momentum in a series is fleeting. And it has been given way too much attention and focus as a factor of a series, of any given series, for far too long. Tampa Bay Lightning dropped the first 2 games of this series at home, and so many were quick to write the story, well, that's it. It's the season of destiny for the Washington Capitals. This year, when there was no expectation of them, after they had to jettison so many players, that this was the season where nothing was really expected of them, yet they went on to win their division. And then, as they moved through these playoffs, they slayed the dragon that was the Pittsburgh Penguins. This was the year. Not so fast. The focus on each game is magnified incredibly during the playoffs. The importance of one game can become skewed and given more value than is warranted. Because of the heightened awareness, people are quick to pass judgment on teams' capabilities. But if there is one thing that we have learned through history that is true, underestimating your opponent will wind up killing you. And here's where we are. Here's where we've arrived at game number 6 of the Eastern Conference Final with the Lightning and the Washington Capitals. 2 losses on home ice to open the series. Since then, Tampa has rolled to 3 straight victories. They have flipped the tables on the Washington Capitals, winning the next 2 games on the road. And then, when the series went back to Tampa for Game 5, they pounced early. A mistake by Matti Niskanen on a play. He got neither the puck nor the man, and the puck wound up in the back of the net 19 seconds in, and the fuse was lit on the Rocket inside Amalie Arena at that point. All teams will tell you, when you are out on the road, the first key to success is surviving the opening period and getting the game to where it's a little more comfortable, and that was no longer possible in Game 5 for the Washington Capitals 19 seconds in. Lightning would add to the lead before the period was half over, and you could feel the snowball starting to roll a little faster downhill. That was a dominating effort by the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first period. Didn't allow the Washington Capitals to get going. Here's the snapshot numbers that are indicators. Tampa outshot Washington 13-4. Outscored them 2-0. Out-attempted them in shots 29-8. That is a dominant period. But wait, there's more. Kept the pressure up early on in the second period. A half a minute in, Ryan Callahan makes it 3-0. There's the desperation challenge for goaltender interference. You knew it wasn't going to happen, but it did give the Capitals a little extra break. Gave them that extended timeout of sorts, and I think that helped because the Caps came to life after that. Tampa kind of receded a little bit, and the Caps came to life at that point. Washington outshot Tampa 26-9 in the final 40 minutes. Caps scored 1 in the second. Alex Ovechkin slammed home a goal to make it 3-2 with the goalie out, and then everybody started popping antacids because they were feeling a little nervous, and their tummy was a bit upset in that final minute. Buzzer sounded. Victory secured. Tampa has a 3-2 win and a 3-2 series lead. Tampa got their advantage, but they had to hold on pretty tight to the rope near the end of those final 2 periods. But with the win, Lightning now find themselves with a chance to head back to the Stanley Cup final. As the series has moved back to Washington, so much of the talk once again focuses on momentum. Too much talk has focused on momentum. Will the Caps be able to carry over momentum from the back half of game number 5 when they so dominated and outshot the Tampa Bay Lightning? Will they be able to also get a home ice victory the way Tampa did? Or does the Tampa momentum continue after 3 straight victories? Can they close it out with a 4th consecutive win? What may and is more important? And in terms of what we're looking at in terms of the game, we've talked throughout the postseason how it can't just be the top lines scoring. If you're going to be a team that runs deep into the playoffs, if you're going to be a serious contender for the Stanley Cup, Tampa was able to get contributions from players in the bottom half of their lineup, something that we have talked about throughout this postseason. They got it in game number 5. Sure, it was on home ice. Okay. Cedric Paquette, Andre Palat, Ryan Callahan are goal scorers. That's additional supportive scoring. When someone like Stamkos or Kucherov don't contribute on a given night, that's what you need to be successful. Those guys are going to pile up points through the year, but occasionally they're not. And if you've got the others chipping in, that's going to make all the difference. Look at the first 2 games of the series. The frustration was evident in those top players. It does come around, but it's vital to get that contribution from others in your lineup. Also key for the Lightning over the last 3 games. An increased attention to detail in defensive structure and defensive coverage, especially in the defensive zone. a much more consistent effort to make sure the opposition doesn't have a chance to get things started. Making smart choices, making good decisions that don't put you in a vulnerable or difficult or uncomfortable position. It's kind of, you can run a comparison to, it's like an investment strategy. It's like a smart investment strategy. You can try and go for the big gain and reap a huge windfall, but those choices and decisions are risky and also bring the potential for significant downturn in your fortunes. Sure, you can go for the long bomb pass, and there is a small chance that it's going to succeed, and the puck will land on the tape of your teammate, and he will break free unobstructed to have a chance on goal. But those are risky plays. Same thing applies here. Tampa stopped making the big swing. They stopped turning pucks over at their blue line as well as their opponent's blue line, and it's pretty easy to see how their success has changed. It's another example of simple strategies for investing that runs parallel. Don't do things to hurt yourself. Don't make a mistake to put yourself in a vulnerable position. In game number 5, the Lightning did not take one single penalty. Yes, the Caps only took one minor in the first period, and certainly this does serve as another example of not knowing what kind of officiating you're going to get from one game to the next. That's a long-standing theme through these postseason and through this season in particular. Tampa didn't put themselves in a perilous spot by allowing the Capitals' power play on the ice with a chance to do damage. They did score a man advantage goal. It was in the final minute when the goaltender was pulled. That was the only time that had happened. These are sound structures, an investment in your game, if you will, that proved to be successful. They proved to be a fruitful and winning strategy for the Tampa Bay Lightning. This is what we will need to see more of in game number 6. Sure, you can say that, well, this is the cliche here, backs against the wall game for the Washington Capitals. Insert another cliche. They're going to come with their best effort. They're going to come with their best game as much as they can muster on any given night. It's not going to be different in game number 6. What you do is more important than the type of effort the Washington Capitals put in. If you do the right things with structure and discipline and build the foundation of your game, you will be successful in game number 6, and the Lightning will have another opportunity to move on. Sure, some things went their way in game number 5. And when the first goal went in, when Paquette's goal went in, and John Cooper in his quote said, "The roof nearly came off when we scored that first goal." You could see our team get a little taller on the bench. Smart, structured play. Move the puck, get it to the person who's open, give them an opportunity. A poor choice, a poor defensive decision by the Washington Capitals, and it wound up burning them. Anton Stralman, after talking about game number 5 and looking ahead to game number 6, quote, "I think that first period was our best hockey. That was us at our best. Maintaining it for 60 minutes is going to be key. Play that kind of game as they did in the first period of game number 5, not the second 2 periods when they kind of receded and Washington got their feet under them and began to carry the play a little more. That will be a key to success." From Chris Kunitz, we have to be desperate. We have to match their intensity level. Hopefully we can come out with the win. We have to play a good road game and put them on their heels. Coach John Cooper found a way to get the message through. And there's a message he needs to get through to his team ahead of game number 6. The message is win. Yeah, I know, that's really simplistic. Win. Don't let this series go back to Tampa for a deciding game. That's pretty obvious, yes. But the kind of blitzkrieg that the Lightning hit the Capitals with in game number 5 is what I expect from the Capitals in game number 6. They are going to unload with full power from the start. They are going to try to dictate the play and carry the play and get the Lightning on their heels, the way Chris Kunitz talked about the Lightning have to. The kind of focus that Andrei Vasilevsky has had in the last 3 games, and especially late in the game to make a big save on John Carlson, is what they are going to need. Caps were counted out after going down 2-0 in round 1 against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They won 4 straight. They showed how good they can be. Granted, the Lightning are a better team than the Columbus Blue Jackets, certainly, but underestimating your opponent only works against you. It will only lead to your downfall. Respecting the lethal power that the Washington Capitals possess will provide the attention to detail necessary to secure a victory in game number 6 and have the Tampa Bay Lightning moving on to play the Vegas Golden Knights for the Stanley Cup. Often during the playoffs, there's been times when I've said there's only one stat or one telling little bit of info to illustrate the significance of a game. Here's a couple of things to look at for game number 6. Tampa Bay was down 0-2 to the Washington Capitals in 2003. They came back to win 4 straight and take the series. Okay, that's nice. That's not the important one, though. Here's the important one. The team that wins Game 5 in a best-of-7, that was tied 2-2, has gone on to win the series 79.6% of the time. That's almost 80%. The record is 215 to 55. However, the Lightning had a 3-2 lead in the conference final against the Pittsburgh Penguins 2 seasons ago and wound up losing in 7 games. That's the one vital point. That's the one vital statistic. That's the message that John Cooper should be relating to his team in advance. We were in this position just a couple of years ago. A lot of you guys were here for that. Let's not let that happen again. It's the one that's more recent than that 2003 series. It's far more relevant to those players in the locker room. I'm looking forward to an exciting game number 6. Atmosphere, as has been the case in all buildings, should be off the charts and enjoyable and wonderful. And I don't think that it necessarily favors one team. We'll get into a little bit more of that coming up later on in this hour. As mentioned, the opponent for the victorious Eastern Conference finalist will be the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup final. That'll get going in about a week. I want to talk a little bit more about Vegas and yet another remarkable playoff round victory. This one coming against the Winnipeg Jets in game number 5, to many people's surprise. And it's also brought a lot of anger and grumbling from people, and that's too bad. I'll get into why that shouldn't be the case and a few other things. There's a couple of other things going on around the league as well that we'll try to squeeze in time for. It's going to be a busy remaining minutes in our hour. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. We'll have the projected starting lineups for both the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals coming up, and a few other things that we'll be looking for in game number 6 that's set to go at Capital One Center just after 8 o'clock tonight. This special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis continues right after the break.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing. Nova Product Design. Industrial design. Mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff, the Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.
Welcome back. It's a special pregame edition, Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, getting you set for game number 6 of the Eastern Conference Final. Tampa Bay Lightning in Washington to take on the Caps, a chance to eliminate the Washington Capitals and move forward into the Stanley Cup Final against the Vegas Golden Knights. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. You can comment through our Facebook page as well. Feel free to pass on questions, comments about tonight's game. I like Tampa to close it out. I do think that Tampa closes it out. I just don't see Washington winning the next 2 remaining games to come back in this series. I just don't think it's feasible for the Washington Capitals. I think they've been beaten now that they have lost 3 straight games to the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I think it will be Tampa taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. But yes, they defeated the Winnipeg Jets, a 2-1 score. The Vegas Golden Knights are going to play for the Stanley Cup in their inaugural season. And it's becoming difficult for some people to digest. It seemed like a dream when we were moving through the regular season and the Knights were winning and just kept winning and found themselves on top of the division. And it's just continued through the postseason. Oh, the dream has to come to an end. No, they smoked the Kings in 4 straight games. They defeat the San Jose Sharks, and then they defeat the Winnipeg Jets in 5 games. This is not the first time that a team has played for the Stanley Cup in their inaugural season. It's happened twice previously. The Blues, of course, when the league expanded from 6 to 12 teams, all the new teams were over in one division. The Toronto Arenas did it in 1918. This achievement by the Vegas Golden Knights is remarkable. It comes when they come into a league as the 31st team. And the competition, the margin for error is so difficult. Parity is so much a part of the National Hockey League with the 31 teams. I'm finding, too, that we are getting so much blowback now against the Vegas Golden Knights and their tremendous success in the first season. And I think that's really too bad. Through a lot of the season, people were kind of like, oh, this is nice. They're having a good go, and everybody's winning a few games, and it's nice to see the people are coming in and having a good time, and that's good. And, oh, they made it to the playoffs. That's nice. Oh, they won their division. I guess that's nice. I don't think there should be this kind of nonsense that started over the last 24 hours or a little bit longer, I guess, since it looked like the Golden Knights were going to go on and defeat the Winnipeg Jets. Take it for what it is. This is a really cool story. If you do even the smallest bit of looking, you can see that it's an incredible confluence of circumstances that all came together for this incredible story to take place this season. You can glorify it and say that it's a fairy tale or something like that. I don't know that I would put it exactly in that category. I think it really is a perfect storm of a number of things coming together and presenting us with this really unique but really interesting storyline that's been fun to follow. You can carry through and enjoy it. Whatever happens in the Stanley Cup final happens in the Stanley Cup final. But there's no reason that you shouldn't be looking at this and enjoying it for what it is. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I don't think there's any need to be angry. I don't think there's any need to be bitter about what's been going on, and yet some people are. And that's really a shame. But mostly, though, if you look at it, it's people and their way of thinking is stuck in the 1970s. There are far too many jerks that believe Vegas hasn't paid their dues. And that should be required for a team to be successful. Well, I know you guys are stuck in the 70s that think this way, but we now live in 2018. The world operates very differently than it did 40 years ago. Please try and keep up. Let's enjoy the innovation and change that takes place, not just in hockey and sports, but in all of life. Can you honestly say to me, those stuck in the 70s people, that the game was better then than it is now? It's not even close. The talent, the skill level, the performance is far superior now than it was. The way teams and the league operate now has also improved greatly. Way more information available, way more technology to elevate the entire hockey world and the world in general, which is the positive. Yes, absolutely, you are right. The Las Vegas franchise did pay handsomely to become the 31st team in the NHL. And with that, they were given a more favorable set of rules for the expansion draft. This was not just them saying, look, we're writing a big check, we want better players. The league wanted this. All the governors were on board when they voted to accept the money that, yes, we understand that we can't just plop a crappy team into a new city and expect it to succeed. They have realized that the way expansion works, not just in the NHL, but all other leagues, you have to approach it differently. You can't just put 25 of the worst players in a new uniform and expect fans to come out and pay Gino dollars to watch them. That, however, though, is not the only reason that the team was such a success this season. Vegas Golden Knights were smart enough to bring in a good general manager in George McPhee, hiring your coach well in advance of not just the start of the season, but in advance of the entry draft, so that your coach can understand the type of team you're looking for and understand the kind of players that you need, and you can draw on his experience. Bringing in a very good scouting staff to find out which players on other teams would be available, and also which ones might need to maybe move another player or come up with some other side deal to allow them even greater opportunity to get more good players. Take a look back at the expansion draft, take a look back at the protected lists, and see what kind of position other teams were in. Minnesota didn't want to give up Eric Haula and Alex Tuch, but they chose to because it was going to allow them to keep Matt Dumba. And at the time, Eric Haula was an RFA, Alex Tuch was an unproven youngster. You can understand that decision-making process. George McPhee also saw that as a possible opportunity. Same situation in Columbus. Wild Bill William Karlsson was given up because he wasn't as proven a commodity as some of their other players. They were able to shed some salary and make some other deals. Florida allowed Vegas to have Riley Smith, Jonathan Marchessault. That's smart work by the Vegas Golden Knights staff. Some players also have had absolutely stunning career years. I mean, years that you could not have predicted or saw in anyone's future. Defenseman Derek Engelland, who has become the face of the franchise, was barely in the league before he went to Vegas. He's been amazing. Marc-Andre Fleury. Yes, you got yourself a good goaltender. If he wasn't injured this season for Vegas, he'd also be a legit MVP candidate. His numbers this season have been outstanding. In the regular season, tremendous. And also in the playoffs, they are out of this world good. And that's also why Vegas has been winning. Round number 1, Marc-Andre Fleury, .977 save percentage on 130 shots. Round number 2 against the San Jose Sharks, a pretty good team. A .935 save percentage on 214 shots. Round 3 against the Winnipeg Jets, the team with the second most points in the NHL regular season. A .938 save percentage on 162 shots. Fleury in 5 games in the postseason where he's been forced to make 30 or more saves has allowed 1 or 0 goals. That happened 5 times in 15 postseason games for the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, that is out of this world good. Sure, you could have predicted that Marc-Andre Fleury would provide you stable goaltending, give your team a foundation during the regular season to have a modicum of success. Nobody was predicting this kind of performance by Marc-Andre Fleury through the regular season and an even better showing during the playoffs. Don't believe some of the nonsense either that people are spewing out about being lucky to get Marc-Andre Fleury. That's horse manure. Marc-Andre Fleury deal was done with his blessing well before the trade deadline. He could have gone elsewhere if he had pulled the power play. He chose to go to Vegas. He said, yes, all right, I'm good with it. So yeah, there's some luck. There's some good fortune involved, but it is not the only factor. How about being smart enough during the first year of your NHL existence to alter your plan as the season moves along and you get closer to the trade deadline? Vegas Golden Knights originally were collecting draft choices. As they got to the trade deadline and realized where they were, they had a chance not just to make the playoffs, but have a really high seed and have a really good run in the postseason. They shifted strategy. They were going to move pending unrestricted free agents prior to the trade deadline. Instead, as the season went on, there were signings that took place. They kept players. And with such a great season, they actually spent some of the many draft picks that they had acquired to bring in Tomas Tatar from the Detroit Red Wings. A perfect coach for the bunch of misfits, as they've dubbed themselves, brought in to bring them all together and has succeeded incredibly. It was partly about the, well, if nobody else wants you, I'm going to show you. But it's also about belief. It's also about trust and support. If you're in the situation, you get an incredible effort from people when you show them you trust them, when you show them you believe in them, whether it's at a job or any other life situation. These are some of the things that have contributed to the Vegas Golden Knights' success. These are reasons to cheer for them. These aren't reasons to gripe about their success. You also can't quantify how the terrible mass shooting in October and the Vegas Golden Knights' help and support in their new city served as a unifying and galvanizing event for the team and for the city of Las Vegas. Emotion will allow you to do and become something special and something incredible. So it's been something special, and it has been incredible. Everybody's been asking, how is this happening? Why is it happening? And I'm at the point now with Vegas, I don't really care. I don't want to question it anymore. Everybody's been asked on the roster, whether it's the players, the coaches, the general managers, how does this happen? How did this come together? I don't know. They don't care anymore. It's happening. Savor it. Enjoy it for what it is. It's a unique set of conditions that have all come together at this time and created a captivating story. So I'm going to enjoy it the rest of the way. As much as anything, they've earned the right to be in the Stanley Cup final. So how dare anyone try to diminish that? They have earned this with a lot of hard work and effort. Good for them. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. We should talk a little bit about what happens to Winnipeg now. I know there's a lot of disappointment and a lot of emptiness. Blake Wheeler, I believe, said just an empty feeling. There's a lot of reason to be excited. There's some work to do ahead for the Winnipeg Jets as well. But they've had a tremendous season. But there are some questions going forward. More talk about the Tampa Bay Lightning and what's to expect in the game tonight. Game 6 against the Washington Capitals, and a chance to move on and take on the Vegas Golden Knights for the Stanley Cup. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. You can log in and make comments via our Facebook page as well. Another segment coming up right after the break.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing, Nova Product Design. Industrial design, mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff, the Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.
This hour is absolutely screaming by. It's a special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. You can comment through our Facebook page as well. We're getting set for game number 6 between the Capitals and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Lightning want to close out game 6. I don't want to be going back to Amalie Arena. Well, I want to be going back to Amalie Arena, but I want to be doing it for game number 1 of the Stanley Cup final. I don't want to be going back for a Wednesday game against the Washington Capitals and trying to see if Tampa can close it out in a game number 7 winner take all. It's just adding undue pressure to yourself. You don't need that. Take care of business in game number 6. Sure, it's going to be a difficult task. Strong defensive structure, smart plays. Don't be going for the home run pass. Make the right choices. Make the right decisions. It's like a good investment strategy. That will be the key to success for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Projected starting lineups coming up a little bit later on this hour, and a few other things that we expect to see in game number 6 between the Lightning and the Washington Capitals. Touched on Vegas in our last segment. We should spend a couple of seconds talking about the Winnipeg Jets, who had themselves a tremendous season. They looked a little worn out to me over the last couple of games, especially, though, against against Vegas. They dominated so much of the play. They had opportunities. They had chances. Mentioned the extraordinary play of Marc-Andre Fleury, and it's true. He was sensational. But there were so many times when I'm watching the game or listening to the game and I'm hearing the play-by-play announcer, Blake Wheeler, Patrick Laine, Mark Scheifele, Kyle Cotter, whoever it is, shoots and just misses the net and misses the net. Way too many missed shots. I know that you're trying to be fine. I know you're trying to be precise and go for that small little area. But if you don't hit the net, you have 0% chance of scoring. Maybe your original shot doesn't go in, but maybe if some of those shots are on net, it creates a rebound. It creates another opportunity, a second chance, a third chance where you might be able to create some scoring and might be able to get some offense generated. They made themselves a more difficult challenge by missing the net so frequently. So now that the Jets season is over, what happens next? What goes on next for Winnipeg? And there are a number of people that are immediately pushing the panic button and concerned and worried that, what if we become like the Edmonton Oilers, who had that great season? They were headed for great things. There were people picking them this year to go and potentially play for the Stanley Cup. No, not going to happen. Not going to happen. Different organization. The organization that is the Winnipeg Jets better understands the plan that they have in place and what kind of team is needed to be successful. That said, full marks for their choices and their decisions made a couple of seasons ago that have helped guide the Winnipeg Jets to this point. Those were key choices. Now they have to keep going. They have to keep making those difficult decisions at times. The Jets were overachievers this year, I believe. I don't think that they expected to be as successful as they were. Sure, they didn't get to play for the Stanley Cup. They got to the Western Conference Final. That was an overachievement. They will not arrive as a surprise team to anyone next year. They are always going to get an opponent's best game, and a couple of areas are going to have to be addressed for the Winnipeg Jets. They need to find a suitable backup for Connor Hellebuyck. Maybe it's Steve Mason after a summer off and a chance to get healthy and a chance to get back on top of his game. I'm not sure. He may just have too many injury issues that are too serious for that to be a realistic option. But reducing the workload during the regular season a little bit for Connor Hellebuyck is going to be important. He's your guy. He's your number one. But you got to reduce his workload just a little bit. There are also a number of choices that are going to have to be made by the Winnipeg Jets management team on the defensive end. Byfuglien, Myers, Dmitry Kulikov, remember him? He got into game number 5. And Ben Sherratt are the only 4 on the current roster that are signed for next season, and some for beyond that. Which of Morrissey, Morrow, Poolman, Enstrom, and Trouba come back? Because I'm not sure that all 5 of them are. And what is the cost to bring them back? I want Jacob Trouba back, of course. I also want Josh Morrissey, and I might want Morrow too. And that's probably the order that I'm going to look to sign them. Tucker Poolman, yeah, that's probably one you want to have, and probably one that's obtainable. But Toby Enstrom is probably the guy that's not coming back next year. Up front, it's going to get a little tricky making the salary structure fit as well. Paul Stastny, brought in at the trade deadline at the cost of a first-round pick as an unrestricted free agent, and probably unrealistic to expect that he will be back as a member of the Winnipeg Jets for the 18-19 season. Although he did seem to fit in quite well. He did seem to enjoy his time with the team significantly. He did seem to mesh seamlessly. It did provide the Winnipeg Jets with that real depth at center that worked, because you got Scheifele, you got Stastny, you can push Brian Little down to the third line center. If Paul Stastny's willing to entertain maybe a 3-year deal, I'd take a hard look at it. I'd really look at it. If he's, but I'm not willing to go beyond that in length of contract. You got Blake Wheeler coming up as an unrestricted free agent after next season. He's going to want a big payday. He'll be eligible to talk contract as of July 1st. He's going to be 32 next year. at this time, that's the same age Paul Stastny is right now. Again, the right term, the right dollars, I'm more than happy to have both of them. Patrick Laine, Kyle Connor are restricted free agents after next year, and both of them will also get substantial raises. How much money and how much term can you give both Laine and Connor? The key for Winnipeg, as they realized a couple of seasons ago when they had to make some hard choices, their key is they have good young players coming, and they need more of them, and they will be coming. Those good, talented young players are going to be pushing for roster spots, and they will deserve those roster spots. They are going to have to make room, and it might mean some unpopular choices at times. General managers make the mistake. If you've been with us on our programs throughout the season, Saturday and Sunday at 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, I've talked a number of times about this. General managers make mistakes by falling in love with their players. They start listening to what fans want because they become sentimental favorites, and it's, oh, he's our guy, we have to be loyal to him. They fall in love with their players and don't make rational decisions. Kevin Cheveldayoff, though, made the right call to jettison Andrew Ladd. He didn't get that big contract that he was looking for from the Winnipeg Jets. He made the hard choice and realized he had to move on. Traded him, got something for him. It was the right move. There are going to be other choices and other decisions that will need to be made by the Winnipeg Jets. They'll be hard, they'll be difficult, but you have to realize this is why drafting and player development is so important. You must have a steady stream of young, talented players that you've worked through and developed in your system, pushing for those roster spots. That makes your bargaining position with veterans that much stronger as well. A couple of other quickies that we'll squeeze in this segment as well before we take the break and then get to our final segment. That apparently, noticed this on Twitter a little bit earlier from Pierre LeBrun of The Athletic, the NHL and NHLPA competition committee will be meeting Thursday in New York City. There are a number of items that will be up for discussion with the NHL and NHLPA competition committee. Coach's Challenge will be one of them. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I think the goalie challenge and the changes and the switches made this year, it is what it is. Offside challenge, now it's a penalty. Works pretty good for me. Haven't been nearly as many of them. The interference challenge, it is what it is. It's interpretation. Here's an interesting topic. Goalie equipment. Oh, yeah, remember when they were going to shrink the goalie equipment? Oh, yeah, I remember that a couple of years ago. I guess it's still on the discussion table. The officiating report. My hand is shooting up in the air right now. Can I make that one? Can I please deliver that one? I'd really just like a few minutes. I could give you a little video presentation if you want, and I could ask you a couple of questions and point out a couple of things that I want to ask about. The player safety report will also be part of that agenda as well. It could be an interesting meeting. I don't know. The competition committee meets, they talk, and again, substantial change, don't expect it. Couple of provocative, salacious little stories that come out eventually, yeah, probably. I don't know. I'm not expecting any enormous, significant developments. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. You can interact with us there. Always enjoy your comments through our Facebook page as well. One more segment to go. We'll go through the official projected starting lineups of the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals as they get set for game number 6 this evening in Washington. Bolts with a chance to close it out. Tampa, Vegas competing for the Stanley Cup. Could be fun. We'd have a whole bunch of days to talk about and chew on the potential matchup as well, because it looks like it's got to be next weekend before the Cup final begins anyhow. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. Final segment of this special pregame edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. Back after the break.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing. Nova Product Design. Industrial design. Mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff, the Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.
Final segment of our special pregame edition, Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, in anticipation of game number 6 between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals. Face-off will be a little after 8 p.m. this evening. We'll have the expected starting lineups for both the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals in a couple of seconds, plus a few other things that you want to look for in tonight's game. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be terrific. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. You can comment through our Facebook page as well. Bit of news coming out in the last little while. No, it's not the general manager news that you would think of in terms of the Minnesota Wild. It looks like Paul Fenton's going to be the guy, but it looks like, according to a friend Arthur Staple with The Athletic, it's going to be a done deal that Lou Lamoriello is going to leave the Toronto Maple Leafs and take over the New York Islanders hockey operations. Wow, that's a bit interesting now, isn't it? Does that maybe shake up the New York Islanders this offseason? What's to become of current general manager Garth Snow? What's to become of Doug Weight, the head coach, and the rest of the coaching staff? But the one that everybody's really interested in is what becomes of soon-to-be unrestricted free agent John Tavares. Well, this certainly does change the landscape a little bit. Scott Malkin, John Ledecky, the owners of the New York Islanders, have said they will do what they need to do to become a winning team. They want John Tavares back. They want him to be part of the Islanders for the long-term future. If Lou Lamoriello comes aboard, I think that's a pretty big step in that direction and indicating they are serious about this. I also think that would also be a big, big plus for the New York Islanders to keep John Tavares and have him re-sign with that organization. Really interesting news. Obviously, there'll be a lot more that comes out about that over the next couple of days as the news and word becomes official out of the New York Islanders lineup. But looks like Lou Lamoriello is going to move on again and take over the New York Islanders. Little surprised, but that's some pretty cool stuff. Looking forward to hearing a little bit more about that. Again, refocus again on tonight's game between the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Washington Capitals in our remaining minutes. More of the same is what's needed from the Tampa Bay Lightning. Smart choices, smart decisions, good defensive play leads to offensive opportunities. We have seen that in winning in Washington. Smart defensive play, good structure, not turning the puck over on a regular basis leads to positive offense. Andrei Vasilevsky has been sensational. Yeah, you're right. He wasn't particularly great in game number 2. I don't think he was as bad as some made him out to be in game number 1 of this series, but since game 3, he's been on top of it. I expected he would bounce back. And when your whole team has a better focus and structure in terms of defensive responsibility, that only helps your goaltender. Sure, he's been called on to make some saves, in particular in game number 4. He really came up big. But it's everyone's contributions that have made the Lightning successful over the last 3 games, and that kind of contribution from the entire lineup will be necessary for the Tampa Bay Lightning to have another victory in game number 6 and close out the series and then move on to take on the Vegas Golden Knights and compete for the Stanley Cup. Projected lines once again for the Tampa Bay Lightning: Andre Palat, Steve Stamkos, and Nikita Kucherov on the top line. It's Yanni Gourde, Braden Point, and Tyler Johnson on line 2. The third line with Anthony Cirelli at center, Alex Killorn and JT Miller on the wings, Chris Kunitz, Cedric Paquette, Ryan Callahan. Those players were enormous in game number 5. They'll be counted on again in game number 6. Victor Hedman, Dan Girardi, Ryan McDonough, Anton Strawman, Braden Coburn, Mikhail Sergachev, the defensive pairings, and yes, Andrei Vasilevsky in goal. Nick Backstrom is back. He's been healthy for a couple of games now. Alex Ovechkin, Evgeny Kuznetsov, and Tom Wilson, those still make up the top line. Backstrom projected to be between Jacob Vrana and TJ Oshie. Andre Burakovsky, Lars Eller, Brett Connolly. The third line, Chandler Stevenson, Jay Beagle, and Devontae Smith-Pelly will be on the fourth line. Orlov and Niskanen, Michael Kempny, who's been really good at times, but has also struggled and made some bad choices at times. Will be paired with John Carlson. Brooks Orpik, Christian Juice will be the third defensive pair, and then Braden Holtby in goal. Braden Holtby's stats have also slid over the last couple of games. Maybe the Caps' chance is that Braden Holtby has to steal a game. We've seen goaltenders do that, and he has to steal a game. That might be the way for the Washington Capitals to extend this series. Oh, by the way, the rest of the lineup, referees will be Dan O'Halloran and Brad Meyer. The linesmen will be Ryan Gibbons and Greg Dvorsky. This same crew worked game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final between the Caps and the Lightning. That was a 6-2 Washington Capitals victory. So, yeah, we'll be keeping our eyes on that as well. I don't think it has any bearing. If you go back to the whole Chris Rooney thing, yeah, sure, it played up. But I really don't think that has any bearing. The thing for the Lightning, again, will be don't take any penalties the same way you did in game number 5. Don't give that Washington Capitals power play the opportunity to get on the ice and perform at an incredibly high level. Alex Ovechkin has scored on the power play, hasn't been able to score 5-on-5. Don't let him out on the power play. That also is a step in the right direction for the Tampa Bay Lightning to close out Game 6, get a victory, then have a couple of days rest before moving on and taking on the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Final. Looking forward to game number 6 getting going in just a couple of hours. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, our Twitter and Instagram handles. Back on Wednesday with our little Saturday podcast. We'll be back on Saturday with our regular shows. Enjoy game number 6 between the Bolts and the Capitals.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we've partnered with SeatGiant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing. Nova Product Design. Industrial design. Mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff, the Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.